Pamela Rickard, a middle school teacher in Fort Riley, Kansas, was denied a religious exemption and suspended for refusing to use a student's preferred first name and pronouns. Now, Rickard maintains that she treats every student with respect and dignity, but that God assigns gender at birth, and the school's policies violate her religious beliefs. And she's simply seeking accommodations for those beliefs. Joining me now to discuss this is her attorney in the federal lawsuit, Josh Ney. Josh, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thank you for having me, Tony.
All right, did I miss any of the facts in that lead-in?
No, I don't think so. The basic idea of this lawsuit is that there are not only free exercise and free speech issues, but due process and equal protection issues as well. The case really has to do with forcing teachers to be accomplices in promoting novel theories about gender identity that are based on advocates' political motives and unfounded science. And this is not a free speech case about what Pam wants to say. It's a compelled speech case about what the government can force Pam to say in the classroom. She's a math teacher and she wants to teach math. But unfortunately, the school's actions in this case have made her an unwilling accomplice in a new speech code at the school. This case really,
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, she's a math teacher. She deals with facts. I mean, 2 + 2 = 4. So what if students all of a sudden decide 2 + 2 = 5? Does she have to accommodate that?
That's the question. Where does this stop? This is a policy based on middle schoolers' preferences. And these preferences are not preferences that are formally codified in the school's enrollment records. At the end of the day, she was disciplined for her choice to use the last name of the student at question that was contained in the enrollment records of the school. But the school said that was a violation.
So we're very clear on this. So a student can just say, hey, in this case, a girl, I want to be identified as a boy, so my pronouns are now he and him. There's nothing in the record that she's not legally changed her. She's not legally changed her name. I got to do a flow chart to make sure I keep all this straight. So she has not legally changed her name. Her parents have not signed off on this. This is just something she came up with in the classroom or decided on her own. And the teacher is now required to respond to that and play along accordingly. Is that correct?
That's correct. And this policy is even more absurd. Not only does the school not inform the parents of the new preferences of this 8th grader, but the preferences don't even have to be stated directly from the student to the teacher. In this case, Ms. Rickard found out about a new preferred name of the student from the school counselor. That school counselor addressed the student as her biological sex in the email informing Ms. Rickard of the new name. So the pronouns only became an issue after the fact, and at no time has the student in question directly stated to my client that she has new preferred name or a new preferred pronoun. My client actually heard about the new pronouns from a classmate. And so the standard is not only implicates constitutional issues, but basic classroom control and workability issues. And that's why the due process claims are in there as well. How's a teacher even supposed to begin to apply with something like this?
I mean, you got to have something that's factual and document. I mean, how can you hold somebody accountable to he said, she said, they said, and therefore you violated? I mean, it seems unworkable in terms of a structure. But I want to go back to the
possibility for student-on-student bullying. How do I know that this student who is informing me of this other student's new preferences isn't trying to embarrass that other student?
Exactly. I mean, playing games, kids are known to do that. I did a little bit of that myself in school. But let's talk about beliefs here. Now, we're talking about a biological girl, in this case, that believes she has beliefs that she is a boy. Everyone is forced to accommodate that by this school policy, including the teacher. But the teacher has well-documented, historically verified beliefs that are in keeping with the Christian faith. Where is her accommodation?
Well, and that's the question, is there a neutral policy that would accommodate the rights of students, respect teachers, respect parents? And we actually proposed that particular policy. We think we came up with a pretty good one to the school board, and they rejected it summarily. At no point have we had a back and forth from the school board to determine if there's some way that we can engage in neutral speech to accommodate everyone's interests. Ms. Rickard is not trying to speak specific things to students. She's trying to teach math. She's trying to get through the day. And ultimately, that's not good enough for the school. And so the fact that the neutral policy was rejected by the school board, I think shows that we've got a far more work to do in explaining how the First Amendment and other constitutional principles inform school policy.
Yeah, very quickly, we're almost out of time, but the first action by the school board they did in a closed meeting, which they were apparently chastised by the Attorney General there in Kansas for violating the closed meeting law. So the school board has not been forthright in the way they've dealt with your client, have they?
Well, in all fairness, I think that was a procedural misstep. We did include it in our facts in the petition, and they did come back and vote in public session to uphold the discipline, basically formally calling my client a bully for addressing this student by her legal and enrolled last name. But they did it ultimately in open session. There are concerns, however, with the process throughout in this, and specifically this process, like we talked about, in which teachers attempt to navigate these new policies.
Well, we will follow this very closely, Josh, because this is becoming an issue across the country, and many teachers are facing the same situation. So we will watch this closely. Thanks so much for joining us today here on Washington Watch.
Thank you for having me.